Chrome and you're going to type in joinpd.com. One step at a time. Open your laptop, log in. Go to Google Chrome. Just no spaces.
Open up a new search bar and find your list, yeah. And then you're going to type it in.
Joinpd.com. I'm certain that your neighbor can help you if you get stuck. It says it right here and there's no spaces. Then once you get there, it's going to prompt you for the code. So here's our code.
Do you see it up there?
SRZIOT. Stoic raisins zestfully inspect orange turnips.
Wow.
That's stoic, not stoic. FYI. Thought it was a nonsense word for a second.
There you go. There's your
What?
Oh, you're still signing.
Green, yellow, or pink? Green, that's right here.
There is not. No. There is not. No space.
Hold on. Yep, gotta log in. Okay. All right. There. Say how you're feeling today.
Nope.
Nope.
All right, some of you, if this is your first time logging into Pear Deck, you're going to have to give it permission to access your Google. So if it asks you for permission, go ahead and grant it. And then it will ask you how you're feeling today. Go ahead and be honest. It doesn't really tell us much, but it does tell me when I'm looking at your answers, or Mrs. Kelly is, or Mrs. Ely is. If you were having a bad day, we can take that, we can look at that and see that when we're looking at your answers. Okay? So you really have happy, meh, and a bad day, really. Sad face.
Don't start the class yet.
All right, so then we have marking up the text. And on your screen, you are seeing a little question. This is just kind of helping us figure out how much do you know about this and how often are you using it. So you have three choices on your screen. I've heard of it before, I've tried it before, but it isn't a habit, or it's a habit. I do this all the time when I'm reading. Okay, and that means actually physically marking the text, whether that's with sticky notes because you don't own it, or you're actually writing on it. Okay, make your selection. You don't have to enter or anything, you just have to pick one. Mrs. Kelly, I have 30 friends in, is that accurate? Looks like we have more than 30 in here.
I saw most of them look like they were in when I walked in.
Did you answer that question?
All right, perfect. Then we have everybody in. I'm going to close the join code. I'm going to show. I'm going to lock your response. You can't make a change now. Oh, sorry. Was Lance not done? Oh, let me unlock it. I can unlock it for you, Lance.
There you go. I think it can do this one, right? You tried it, but it's not something you give Missy and then your thumbs up so she knows you're good. Then she'll be able to lock it.
Okay, I'm locking it in 3, 2, 1. So we have 11 who've heard of it before, 18 who've tried it before, but it isn't a habit, and one person who says they do this all the time. I hope that that's true. I'm curious if it truly is. Right? All right. So first, let's talk about why do we do this. One, marking up the text is a strategy that good readers use to, one, stay engaged with what they're reading, and two, so they can use it afterwards. Okay? So it's meant to do two things. Help you understand the text, that's comprehension. And it's meant to leave a trail of breadcrumbs that you can come back to later and go, oh yeah, this is what I was thinking. Because in a book club, you're expected to have conversation about your story, right? And in order to do that, you have to remember what you were thinking when you were reading the story. So it leaves these little spots where you can go back to and say, oh, this was a good one for us to talk about. Because I was feeling this way, I want to see if everybody else is feeling that way, right? So it helps you understand the text, and it leaves a trail of breadcrumbs. It's really for you as the reader, and I'm telling you, friends, if you're not doing it in 4th grade, you will be doing it in middle school, you'll be doing it in high school, and if you go off to college or even become a tradesperson and you have to learn how to work on certain engines, you're going to be marking up all of those things so that you can come back to them quickly for reference. Because the world doesn't work like we do at school, where you close your book and then you take your test. If you don't know something at work, you know what you do? You look it up, or you go read about it in whatever book you learned about it from. So that's going to be an important thing for us to practice. So it definitely has an important why. Here are 2 examples. This first example is a thoughtful engagement of the text. So we can tell there's evidence of thinking. So all they wrote was, if there are more ISIS or more U.S. soldiers than ISIS, then why doesn't the U.S. do something? Okay, we don't know what they were reading about, but clearly it has something to do with the U.S. and ISIS, which is a group of overseas. Okay, you can tell that they were thinking about this in order to ask that question, right? This is good. This is like top tier. Okay, this next one is still good, but it's not top tier. Okay, so if we were grading this out of 3 is the best, 2 is next, 1 is no. The first one would have been a 3. This would be a 2. Okay, they underlined something and they wrote OMG. We all know what OMG means, right? So they were having some sort of reaction to that. We can tell they were having an emotion. They were feeling something, right? So they marked it. But is that going to be enough if they went back to share that with somebody else? Probably not. They needed a little bit more words next to it to do that. But are they engaged with the text? Yeah. Are they using it as a strategy to stay focused? Yeah. And they're responding emotionally to the text at that point. Eden. This word is Shiite. It's a type of religion or people in a different country.
For some reason, it looks like the S word.
Yes, but it actually has way too many letters to be that. Yeah. All right, so here's what we're going to be working towards. This is the full gamut. Okay? This is everything. It looks a little overwhelming probably, but we're not going to take it as everything. We're going to start small, okay? So you will get something like this, similar to this, that you're going to put in your notebook so you have it always to go back and reference, okay? But these are kind of this is our key. Kind of like math has key. This is our guide to the things that good readers do when they're reading. So when you're reading, you should be thinking, and you should be able to hear. It's called metacognition. It's a crazy long term for doing this. Thinking about your own thinking. Did you even know you could do that?
Yes.
You can think about your own thinking. And that's what we're going to have to do as readers to really get engaged, okay? You have to notice what's happening in your brain so you can actually put a mark down. You have to listen to that person that's in there talking to you, okay? So we're just going to focus on the first 3 today, so we're going to kind of go through these 3, what they mean. One of the most important things that I have to impress upon you is that you can't leave the symbol by itself, okay? Another way to say this is you have to read with your pencil. So if you own the text, even if you make one of these marks, you should be putting some words next to it, right? And if you don't own the text, then you should be putting some words on a little sticky note next to that mark, okay? The mark by itself is not enough of a trail for you to get back to. Your breadcrumbs will be eaten up by the birds and you'll go, what was I thinking there? The whole point is to know what you were thinking there, okay? So that first one is a star. Obviously, you don't have to do a star like this. If you know how to do the star where you just do one line that's connected all the way around, you can just do that. If you just do the one that's where you just make a, how do we do those? Can you show us, Mrs. Kelly?
Oh, it's this. Do it.
Yes.
It's a plus and an X together.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, you could do that.
You do the X first, and then you can put on the middle, or you can go across on
Or you can do the one that can with a connected line. Can you show them that one?
like this with the not filled in.
Yeah.
So that's what I started with, and then I just filled it in for the anchor chart.
But you don't have to fill it in. It's totally okay. It's meant to be shorthand. It's meant to be quick and easy. Yes.
There's another one. They make two triangles.
Oh, nice. I don't know that way. Did you hear that? Brooklyn makes a star making two triangles, Mrs. Kelly.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of the Star of David, isn't it? So you make one triangle up, and then one triangle down, like that.
Good thinking. That's a six-sided though, isn't it? Does it have six sides or
Yeah,
five?
it has 6 points. Yep,
6
it's
points.
a symbol for like the Jewish faith. It's one of their really important stars. Yeah.
All right, so this star, when that happens, you are going to be marking that stands for something that is important or a key idea or detail in what you're reading. Okay? It's going to be super important if you're reading things that are nonfiction, right? But it still holds even if you're reading fiction. If the event or the idea or whatever's on there is it something critical to the story, you're going to want to mark it with a star. Okay? And then leave a little mark next to it. So when to use it? When you are reading and you think something you've read is important, you're going to mark it with this. A main idea or an important detail would count. When not to use it. If something is interesting or surprising. And I can't impress upon you that enough. That's going to be tricky. I'm going to show you another one in a couple slides. You really have to figure out, is this just interesting or is it important? That's going to be the most important thing for your brain to do for this one. Okay?